Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today. It's the man they call Meathead. It's the lovely Linda Kay. It's March 15th, 2022, Tuesday, and we had a big Raw show last night. Linda, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all righty. Personally, I feel fine. Just still, a bit saddened from
Yeah,
yesterday's news, but otherwise, I'm doing all right. Thank you for
it's
asking.
tough. If I were to take, and I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I don't care. If I were to take a cue from our man Corey Graves, Corey did a great job all night last night. But in the tribute, when they were leading up to the package, Corey was going to lose it. And that's
hmm
kind of where I'm at right now, where, you know what, if I just stay focused on what I'm doing, compartmentalize everything, put out the product that we put out, Monday through Friday, whatever. We'll talk about Scott in a second, but, we're going to do a show for you too. So, first off, who's the sponsor, Linda?
Our sponsor would be the tremendous Friends Partnership. They are Collar and Elbow. Make sure to go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Check out the latest and greatest in wrestling street fashions. And if you want to save some money, if you want to save 10% off your order, make sure to use promo code Linda K. That's
Mm-hmm.
LINDAKAY to save yourself a little cash on some awesome wrestling gear.
Speaking of awesome wrestling gear, I'm throwing this out there. Carrie, collar and elbow guy. I could see myself wearing a Scott Hall tribute shirt. I assume it's probably something that might be in the works.
Yeah, as I was mentioning, Collar and Elbow is our sponsor. I was thinking of that too. I can't speak on behalf of them, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel like something may come out in regards to that to, with the proceeds obviously then going to Scott's family.
Going to Scott's family, yep. And something
hmm
that just says the bad guy. Bad guy, collar and elbow. I mean, something, anything. I'm not the one making them, but boy, oh boy, the man they call Meathead would buy that, and so should you. So, and we're not already selling shirts that they haven't made yet, but we want to take care of our sponsor who takes care of us. All right, Linda, let's do this. Yesterday morning, we talked about Scott Hall having three heart attacks, a major health issue over the weekend, related to the hip surgery that he was having due to a fall from a couple of weeks ago. And it got worse. And, our good friend Kevin Nash had tweeted out, and really it's the story that all the media kind of ran with, that they were going to take him off life support. The moment that all the family was there to say their final goodbyes to Scott, they were going to pull him off the life support, just let God take him at that point. And that happened early in the morning on Monday. Sometime around the mid-afternoon of Monday, Scott had moved on. He wasn't able to kick out of this one, and we lost Scott Hall. Scott Hall has passed away.
Yeah, I did wake up seeing the tweet that Kevin Nash put out and just, put a somber tone to the day knowing that it would probably happen sometime yesterday. And I was just talking with a lot of acquaintances and colleagues and whatnot about Scott Hall, and we shared our favorite moments and or some memories. Maybe we've crossed paths with him at
Yeah.
some point. But yeah, it's been a sad time. I will say though, I don't know we'll get it raw, but it was nice to see the beginning of the program
Mm-hmm.
showing loving memory as well as a tribute later on.
Let's talk about the positives, and let's talk about just kind of our memories real quick. I got a couple of them I'm going to throw out there. The coolest thing, or one of the coolest things I've probably ever done in this wrestling business, which, I say in the wrestling business like I've actually been involved. I mean, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not we do a podcast. I've done some stuff for Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. I've done this with you and Matthew and Damien and Dave and, all the other members of the Pro Wrestling Report for years. I was very honored, and I was allowed to be very fortunate and allowed to be a color commentator with Damian Nelson. We'll say Big D's name there. But when we would call the matches for Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, and the match that I want to talk about the second the most is the main event of Two Words, Too Sweet at the Waukesha County Expo Center, packed house, close to $2,000 there, 2,000 people. I mean, packed house. I mean, literally the building was full, right?
Mm-hmm.
Capacity crowd. The main event was Holland Nash taking on the New Age Outlaws. This is before WrestleMania in San Francisco. This is before the WWE did this, folks.
Yeah.
Dave Hero booked that show. And I got to call that match. I got to call a Scott Hall and Kevin Nash match and a tag team match. It stands out to me. I told you before we went on the air. It stands out, that this was the match that Kevin Nash was wrestling with a huge cast on his elbow because he had a staph infection in his elbow, on his money elbow. So, I had asked, oh my God, how's he going to do his elbow? Oh, there he goes with his patented elbow on the other side, that staph infection getting in the way. And Scott Hall turning on Kevin Nash in that match, the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn getting the victory. So happy. Got to meet Scott afterwards. He's talked to us on the show before. Kevin Nash has talked to us on the show before. But that, and the other memory I want to share real quick here is for all the things that have been said, we've seen the bad of Scott Hall, right? There was the ESPN documentary. There's, the interviews. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, specifically Scott Hall, those two gentlemen changed the wrestling business. And I don't mean just the NWO. I don't mean just being the outsiders, showing up on WCW Monday Nitro. They changed the way the talent gets paid. They literally changed the game so the game doesn't get ever played the same again. I mean, as far as guaranteed contracts, appearances, merchandising, all of that. When they came into WCW, they rewrote the rule book. So where they got the heat back and forth as far as, maybe they were bad for business or whatever, they helped fix the business because guys were not getting paid. I mean, there was no guaranteed money. There was no union, no insurance, none of that other stuff. One false move, one injury like Big E's could have, hurt his entire family because he wasn't able to earn a paycheck. So all the credit in the world to Scott Hall, and Scott Hall creatively is the reason for the Crow Sting. He came up with that. Handed it to the Stinger. Steve Borden said, you know what? I think you should go with this. Why don't you try this? He was the one who created the Sting.
That I did not know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Your thoughts, Linda?
Yeah. As I mentioned, just still saddened by the loss of Scott Hall, but especially seeing that tribute on Raw last night, showing him primarily as Razor Ramon. I mean, they did show outsiders, of course, but just starting off showing Scott Hall known as Razor Ramon, and that's the Scott Hall I grew up and knowing.
You mean the bad guy?
Yes. Like I've mentioned, I've watched wrestling my whole life, but I was a teenager or preteen, something along those sorts. But I was really fully grasping and understanding pro wrestling, the storylines. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Really fully grasping what WWF was the time, and he was one of my favorites. And I've mentioned this to you before too. Meathead, with my older sister, we didn't have a wrestling ring or like a backyard wrestling setup or whatnot, but we pushed our beds, and wrestled one another, and we always had a joke like saying, we got to try. Well, not really a joke, but we'd all say we got to do the Razor's Edge and one other, but we deemed it would not be safe. Supervised, but when I did see her this weekend, I had mentioned, when I heard about Scott, and his condition in the hospital, she brought that up too, and I was like, yeah, some fun, memories that just make me laugh, make me smile, and upon the news tonight, I was looking through my photos, and I know of one that I had somewhat recently with him, and it would have been at a Comic-Con convention Dave Hero put together in Milwaukee a couple of years back, and I just found it a little bit before. I was telling you I got to post this on social media in a minute here, but it was a picture with Scott, Kevin, and Sean X-Pac, me and my friend doing Too Sweet.
Yeah.
So I believe it was like 6 years ago. I believe it was at a convention here in Milwaukee, and so we've seen just lots of posts about Scott and everyone's memories, and what a great guy he was. The bad guy quote. The bad guy is a good guy. So that's just remember him, and it's been a day.
Yeah, it is. It and when the NWO really started in the Outsiders and all that, I can remember. I'll age myself here, but I'm probably saying I wasn't in my early 20s or teens. I was actually probably in my mid 20s. But running around doing the bad guy shtick, throwing toothpicks at people, doing the whole thing. So I mean that Scott Hall made it cool to be bad. I mean, that's literally where, rooting for the bad guy really took off in the 90s and 2000s was from Scott Hall and Big Scott Hall. I mean, let's think back to the AWA. We're AWA people here in Milwaukee. Big Scott Hall had a huge run in the AWA. That mustache didn't make it, but, Big Scott Hall still, if you ever watched the ESPN Classics that were out there when he was wrestling like Kurt Hennig in the AWA, great stuff.
Right. Yeah. Nice to have had that tribute done on Raw last night, and I think it touched a lot of people.
Let's switch gears here and talk about the Hall of Fame. We did see that Queen Charmel, oh, hello, King Booker. Queen Charmel was inducted into the Hall of Fame. She's one of the nominees for this year, and she'll be getting inducted WrestleMania weekend. There's talk that there is a tag team that is on its way to the Hall of Fame, then it could be announced at any point up until WrestleMania. And I think it's perfect timing, right? If there's any year that it's going to be with as hot as his kid has been on NXT, being the NXT champion and getting over on Raw, it's Rick, it's Scott, it's the Steiner Brothers. Sorry, neighbors.
Yeah, that would be tremendous. And, I hadn't really thought of them, and when it came to Hall of Fame time and we'd get our nominations, the inductees and tag teams in particular, I guess that doesn't always come to mind. And hearing you mention that, like, that's
it just makes sense.
They belong.
Remember, Linda, it's right in front of us the whole time.
Now will they finally mention that he's Rick Steiner's
maybe maybe Rick will come out and say my son, even though we don't know who he's talking about, but maybe he'll say my son.
My son.
Yeah. No, Rick Steiner was on. They showed clips of it after they went off the air. Rick congratulating Braun on his first title victory.
Well, I know, but it was off air.
Right. So maybe, the picture, they got to start rocking those old pictures of the Steiner Brothers. If there is anything more 80s, it's those hairdos. Linda, what did you call it again?
Permullet. It's one word.
A permullet? A permullet?
Yeah, one word. One M. Permullet.
And this is before Big Papa Pump was pumped up. He was jacked, right? And he was ripped, but he had more hair. And then Papa Pump obviously added more muscle and less hair. So
holla if you hear me.
Holla if you hear me. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Boy, oh boy. Rick Steiner's greatest feud probably was against Chucky, on WCW Nitro heading up to Halloween Havoc. Just kidding. It was terrible. But yeah, Steiner Brothers, I think that's a no-brainer right there.
Absolutely.
Let's jump into Raw from last night. And again, we touched on it just a little bit here. Show opens up with Scott Hall and in memoriam. At the time that it had aired, I was holding out hope that, he's on life support. Maybe he'll, as we said yesterday, kick out. But it was announced and WWE ran with it, and they kind of went with it as well. There was a tweet out there that Sean Waltman had said that, RIP Scott Hall, and it was tough for him to see it. He goes, I know you guys don't mean anything by it, but it's really tough seeing all these RIPs when my brother's still sitting here breathing. It is what it is. News always spreads like wildfire, especially in the 21st century with social media. And while it wasn't at the exact second, it was coming. So in memoriam for Scott Hall to lead off the show. And the show starts off with KO, talking about the KO show and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, it caught me off guard, but it all made sense. Again, right in front of us. I think they did this on purpose to drop this little nugget in front of us. Oh, that's a bad shot. Why are they showing Kevin Owens and the cameraman in the corner? Oh, and there's a stunner to the cameraman.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having KO started off, just continuing from how it ended last week, Stone Cold, and them showing Stone Cold's rebuttal again. I know they showed it on SmackDown, but
what a great promo by Stone Cold. I miss those.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like you said, he keeps mentioning 19 years. I know it's still slated to be the KO show at Mania, but there will indeed be some action, as Stone Cold's already saying, is Finsta give an ass whooping.
I don't care if it's a match, you call it a show. I don't care if you call it a brawl. I'm about to open one final can of whoop ass.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh.
I talked to the Cos yesterday. I don't know if you know this, folks, Frank Cosentino. And there was nothing I could do that was easier than to make Frank Cosentino pop, then going, what? Just doing Stone Cold impressions for him. He would lose his mind. All right, let's move into the opening match. Damian Priest and Finn Balor in a non-title match. For some reason, Austin Theory is on commentary for this one, and no Pat McAfee to be found.
Well, I mean, somewhat similar to SmackDown, him just interrupting. I know this was a non-title match, but still, just casually interrupting the match, but getting down on commentary and still speaking low of Pat McAfee. So makes somewhat sense. That's I was thinking maybe would Pat McAfee show up or not. Didn't happen.
That's what I thought. Right. Yeah. Theory caused a little interference, and Damian Priest with the victory, non-title victory. I think they again take this to WrestleMania. I really feel we're going to have the Demon and the Damian.
Oh yes, I do want that. Yeah, so that's why Damian Priest won non-title. Okay, so we still have 2 more Raws till Mania.
2 more. Linda, we talked about packing yesterday. We've still got 2 Raws. That's way too soon.
It'll happen.
Commander Aziz and Omos, and Commander Aziz had no chance. Omos took out the biggest competition he's seen yet.
Yeah, that suplex.
That was something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liv Morgan and Queen Zelina Vega. Remember, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley have won a chance to get into WrestleMania for the Women's Tag Team Championships in a 3-way. Liv Morgan wins by pinfall with her Oblivion.
Yes, and again, Carmella with Corey at ringside. There's some tension going on with her and Zelina, and I can't blame Zelina. She's got her partner there, but not assisting.
That's right. She's the queen. She should be demanding that she has.
That too.
Seth Rollins interrupted their little love fest in the ring, from winning their match, and then Seth Rollins basically telling Rhea and Liv to get out of my ring. Seth Rollins was despondent last week, despondent at the beginning of the show. KO went back to him and said, hey, look, you know what? Find your own way to WrestleMania. Seth Rollins believes he's found it. He's going to steal Kevin Owens' spot. You know what? We'll have 2 talk shows. Nah, that's silly. I'll tell you what. I'll wrestle you, and I'll just take your spot. That's not what best friends do. Linda, have I ever taken your spot before?
No, you have not. As a matter of fact, I couldn't believe that was happening because they are indeed best friends right now. And we know every best friend relationship in WWE never breaks up. However, that was just a shocker because as KO was saying to him, or saying to Sonya Deville later on, the fans are already excited. They want to see me and Stone Cold.
Right.
The fact that the stipulation even was a part of Raw surprised me, but I was figuring in the end, which we'll get to, the outcome was the outcome, but just kind of surprised me. I thought maybe we would get some movement onto who Seth would be facing at Mania. I mean, I know it was okay, so it could have been.
It was a diversion, is what it was. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a diversion. I just was surprised that was it. Just
because when you have the best friends, you got to give the people what you want, or what they want. Sorry, that was a little segue to AEW there.
Yeah.
Got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Let's talk Mysterios and the Hurt Business. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. I need to see Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin wrestling matches on Main Event or the Up, Up, Down, Down, or whatever it's called consistently on Raw and on SmackDown to build them back up again. Because after they just got beat down by Bobby, they are pretty low for me. So I need them to be brought back up again. The Mysterios by pinfall with a frog splash.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely something there. Obviously, ton of talent in the Hurt Business. They already pulled them away from Bobby. Maybe they get rebranded as something else. We could see more tag teams being thrown in the mix between either show, but right now they're just being thrown in. And I don't want to say jobbers, but they've just been losing every match, and it's almost a given every time you see who they're facing, and they're already in the
It's
ring.
tough. Yeah, it's
It
tough.
is. It's very tough. I definitely think there's still something really there for Hurt Business.
I think so. Hey, Papa Smurf was going to make his way out with his new music from Alter Bridge.
I'm sorry, I was laughing about Papa Smurf.
Right. La, 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 la. That was not the song. It was a brand new song by Alter Bridge. What was the name again? Linda, I sent it to us to look it over, and I forgot it.
It was the other side.
The other side. That's what it was. It was the other side.
Yeah.
Dark, ominous. I asked
like
this
it.
question in this little chat that we had between you, Matthew, and myself. Is this the year we finally get Alter Bridge to play Edge into the ring? Is this my year? Is this the year I'm going and I'm going to see Alter Bridge? Is it this year?
Well, I just mentioned to you, or it was last 2 weeks ago when I just saw a slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators with, Miles Kennedy, lead singer of Alter Bridge. That would be tremendous. They are on the road. They are touring. So pending a conflicting tour date.
I think we need to go look at their schedule and see if it's around Texas. We need to go check.
Yeah. But no, this new Edge, I like it. I like the music. I like what he's saying. He's even
got the beginning where he goes, "You think you know me? You know me. You never did."
Right. And even the different hairdo. Like he says he's the best, what do you say, wrestler or person, best. He's the best one in the world. Best, yeah, just best.
He's better than all of you.
Being.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good, and I like this. I know last week I mentioned it. The lights are very reminiscent of The Undertaker, but it's fitting for this other Edge that's not necessarily brooding, but it is dark. I welcome this new music, and it's still by Miles Kennedy, Alter Bridge. Perhaps it will happen this year, Meathead.
And it's the year I'm going, I can't wait. Because on this day, I will see clearly to see an Alter Bridge play Edge in. Bianca Belair and Doudrop. Remember, Bianca Belair and Nikki ASH are now bestest buddies. And Bianca's got another match against Doudrop. I'm going to pick a bone here again. If Doudrop is supposed to be this big heel and supposed to be this, indomitable force, why do they continue to let Bianca Belair pick her up and slam her?
Yeah, we've seen
they're destroying her too, like they did the Hurt Business.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen Bianca Doudrop numerous times, and every time it's the same outcome. And I mean, this time we had Nikki ASH there that could have possibly interfered where the outcome would have been different, but
yeah. Running by Becky at the end and using her hair in a chair. It looked pretty gnarly, but it looks like Bianca's going to be all right.
Yeah, that was a unique way, and the camera angle showed that. I mean, I'm assuming it was that bottom. I don't even know the word for that part of the chair that really
the footrest.
Yes, that really took bit of that collision, but still, that looked good. And hey, Becky deserves her right to come in, and I mean. I know hair pulling is not allowed in the match, but hair whipping apparently is.
Apparently is. So yep, and you can have that weapon in the ring at any time.
So if Bianca can use it, so can Becky. Just saying, fair is fair. I like them both. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I love both Bianca and Becky. I'm just saying. But this is definitely a nice way to move things along. We haven't had Becky on, or is it just last week, right? Yeah. But we didn't expect to see her this week as well.
Right.
So that was nice. We're getting closer to Mania, so we want to see some big stuff like this happen.
Title celebration between RK Bro. They've done this for about a month or so. They've mixed the themes. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got Riddle's music, dun 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 dun, kind of playing over the top of voices by Rev Theory for Randy Orton. So I really like this because you know what? Riddle threw a party for Randy the last time, so Randy threw a party for his best friend this time, and gave him all these gifts, bags of popcorn, chewing gum, and then the last gift is a little green pouch. But before Randy can explain, I looked high and look. Here comes the Street Profits. And you know what? A little bit of heel-ish tendencies. I'm okay with this. Let's see the Profits. Let's see RK Bro, get together. Well, this match ended up being between Montez and Riddle, who took offense to, what Montez said about Randy's party they threw together, like he was hurt. And then at the end, it was a double DQ. Here comes Otis. Here comes Chad Gable. We're getting that three-way.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I heard Street Profits music, I'm like, oh, okay, because I do want to see them in that mix. I think Matthew, and I have all talked about how we want to see some Street Profits possibly in the title run or title mix, I should say, at Mania. And I figured this is how it was going to happen. And then we had Gable and Otis come out as well. I do indeed see this leading to a triple threat for the title at Mania, but I think all three teams are very strong and this could go anyone's way. So definitely looking forward to that.
We had another segment last night that Matthew and I kind of broke down last week. How long was Kevin Owens in the ring between the time he came out and the time that actually the match started? How many commercial breaks? How many recaps of other stuff before Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens locked up?
I'm not quite sure. I think that Finn Balor's was a little bit longer.
Well, Finn Balor's was 3 commercial breaks and 2 promos.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but hey, whatever.
That's how they cover the lack of talent. They could have had 2 more matches in there. All right, the final match. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. Whoever wins this is going to have the interview segment with Stone Cold on Saturday night at WrestleMania. It's currently belonging to Kevin Owens, but if Seth Rollins wins, he's going to take it from KO and make the Rollins report, or what was the other one? Freaking Speaking with Seth Rollins?
Oh, yeah, Freaking Speaking. Freaking Speaking with Freaking Rollins. Something like that. It rhymed.
You know what? What a great match. This match isn't the match we deserved, but it's the match we got, because this match was better than it should have been. This was a pay-per-view quality match that we got, and we got a long one too. So really, at about 30 minutes after we got the standing in the ring for Kevin Owens, then we got Rollins finally out there. They took it home and they looked amazing.
Right. I mentioned it was a big surprise to me, but it was welcomed given how great the match was, and I wasn't seeing Seth Rollins coming with this win just because we already have the hyped up Kevin Owens Stone Cold match.
Right.
But I
it was
also
a distraction. Remember?
I wouldn't have been surprised if it would have happened, been the switcheroo, or maybe it would have been a triple threat all of a sudden too. But the two of them very strong. See how their friendship moves forward after this. Yeah. But in the end, we still have the heavily anticipated KO Steve Austin confrontation, I should say. I shouldn't say match yet, because as of right now,
because what Steve said, he said, you could call it a match, you could call it a fight, you could call it a brawl. I'm about to open up one final can of whoop ass on your ass, and that's the bottom line. There you go. They protected Kevin Owens' stunner, by the way, too. The second that Owens hit it on Rollins, it was over.
Yeah. Well done.
Again, not a bad Raw. They need more talent up there, so you don't have to, hide that you're airing 3 hours with the show with, commercial breaks and, promo segments and all that other stuff. But they didn't put on a bad show last night. I was entertained. Tonight we're going to have NXT. We're making our way to Stand and Deliver. We're also going to talk to Matthew Thomas tomorrow as well, and get a recap of that and get us ready for Impact this Wednesday. Lots of big things going on for the Wednesday Dynamite, not Impact, Dynamite, because we believe it's time for Thunder Rosa to become the women's champion.
Yeah, I know you and I touched on that as well. Should be huge St. Patrick's Day slam. Ha.
That's right.
Oh, while I have you, Meathead.
Yes. What's going on this weekend? Yeah.
Well, before I lose track of what I was about to say,
Sorry.
No, but I'm about to tell you, I'm currently looking at the Slash Miles Kennedy tour, because looks like the last tour date of the Rivers Rising tour, the one that I saw where it's Slash featuring Miles Kennedy, the Conspirators, is Saturday, March 26th, and it looks like, I did peek to see Miles Kennedy or Ultra Bridge. Nothing was slated for a tour date, which means they would be free the weekend of WrestleMania.
What city are they in on the 26th?
Orlando.
Okay, that's not bad. You know what? Jump a plane, get on a bus, a tour bus from Orlando over to Dallas, that's not a big deal. Those guys do that all the time.
Yeah. So there's some hope there.
Oh.
But regarding this weekend, I just a reminder, everybody, if you can make it out to Cedarburg, Wisconsin, not too far from Milwaukee, not too far from Appleton as well.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, so it is GLCW all aboard.
Woo woo!
With WWE Hall of Famer, The Godfather.
It's time once again
for everybody
to come aboard the Ho train.
Yes. I know there's different versions of Charles Wright, but we're going to get The Godfather with it being all aboard here this Saturday night. Tickets are going. I know our friend David, the Popcorn Night Hero, was doing some giveaways on social media, on Facebook. So, check it out. I mean, tickets are just $10, people. Go online, go to blizzardbrawl.com, secure those seats. Last show we had was standing room only. This is going to be another tremendous show. I'll be there ring announcing. Great talents. So we got that this Saturday night. Hopefully we can get you all on a GLC dub.
Nice. Well, fantastic. So, Linda, we will talk to you next week, right? I know our schedule's a little back and forth next week, but we're going to get you in next week, right?
Yes, I do believe we will be chatting NXT next week.
At some point, yeah, we'll have to figure that out. So
we'll figure it out. Wait, just so everyone knows, we will still have our show every day as normal. We're just trying to figure out who's going to be on which date for next week.
It's going to happen. It's always a revolving seats around here, but we're always going to have content for you. So
it's like musical chairs,
right? And speaking of which, I'm glad we're bringing it up too. We're going to be pumping out some WrestleMania coverage as well when we're down there. We haven't finalized what we're doing yet, but I know we're pumping out content every day. So,
indeed.
Perfect. For Linda Kay, the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.